Good evening. Welcome to the December 12th, 2024 meeting of the Conservation Commission. Sounds like the audience is me.
I hit it.
It is 7 o'clock. I will call the meeting to order. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. Since we don't have any online members at the moment, we will not need to take roll call votes. We do know that Susan Cahalan will not be able to attend. She sent something saying that she was. So we'll start with the roll call.
Bob Sweet.
Carl Hummel, Chair,
Leah Whiting.
Mike Amandalea.
and our conservation agent.
Is
Okay. First item is good and welfare for the public. Are you here for that, or if you?
No, I'm on the agenda.
Okay, so we'll move on to that. We'll move on to the public hearing section of the meeting. First one is 27 Pleasant Street, DEP 218-0862. I believe we got an email about this.
to continue the hearings.
Okay, so since we don't have enough information, the clock hasn't started, is the way I would look at this. Okay, but well, as long as they've done it. Same thing will apply to agenda item number 5, 29 Pleasant Street, DEP number 218-0861. So now we'll move on to agenda item 6, notice of intent for 93 Park Street, DEP 218-0862. Construction of a detached garage, utility, small driveway, and associated graving for a single-family house within the 100-foot buffer zone. I see Mike Dean is on. So would you like to begin your presentation?
Sure. Okay, good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commission members. Thanks for your time. My name is Mike Dean with DNL Design Group, here representing Kurt and Rachel Labuti. I believe Kurt is in the audience there live.
Come on up to the table in case you need to talk.
Okay, so this project is where the Labutis reside. It's their house, which, as you just mentioned, is 93 Park Street. The project consists of a 2.75 acre parcel of residentially zoned land. Before we get a little further, Isabella, did you call that up on the screen, the colored plan? Please? Or do you want me to try to share my screen? Okay, great. So zoom out just a little more, please. Okay. So yeah, just a little more, please, just to show where Park Street is in the overall, then we can zoom in late in a minute. All right, perfect. Thank you. So once again, the project consists of a 2.75 acre parcel of residentially zoned land shown in the orange. Park Street is at the bottom of the plan. North is up the page. The parcel is in common with the Mendon and Uxbridge town line, which is on the left side of the plan, or on the western side of the lot. That is the town line of Uxbridge and Mendon. So leaving Mendon, it is the last lot on the right going into Uxbridge, number 93. The existing house on that plan, you can kind of see in the center, is shown in the lighter blue. If you want to zoom in just a little, Isabella, that would be great. So the house, the existing single family house is shown right there in the blue, in the light blue. The house is serviced by the driveway connection from Park Street to the house, which is shown on the plan, and it's on-site well and septic. The lot has wetlands, obviously. That's why we have filed. And the 2 wetland areas are shown in green on that plan. There's 2 areas towards Park Street, and then up in the northwest corner, off-site, and then it just comes back onto the lot up in the top left or on the northwestern portion of the site. So associated with the wetlands are the 25-foot, 50-foot, 25-foot no disturb zone, 50-foot no build zone, and then the 100-foot buffer zone is associated with those, the wetland lines, and those are shown in the blue lines. The proposal is for the construction of a detached garage, which is shown that rectangle in the red. The installation of the utilities to the garage, such as electric, water, and septic components. There is a small driveway connection from the garage to the existing driveway. If you want to zoom in just a little bit more, Isabella, for me, please. So there's that located. And there's also a blow up on the right side of the plan at 20 scale that just shows that at a larger scale. So the proposed garage is shown 50 feet, greater than 50 feet from the wetlands. And it's within the 100-foot buffer zone. There is erosion control proposed, shown in the purple. The grade in the proposal, once again, has no work in the 25-foot no disturb zone. The structure is 56 feet plus away from the wetlands, so out of the 50-foot no build zone. And all the grading shown on the plan is at 3-to-1 or flatter. The wetlands were flagged by a professional, our guarded consultant. The agent and some commission members walked the site prior to the hearing. We have been in communication with Isabella throughout the process, and it does not appear to be any issues. So with that, I turn it back over to the commission to answer any questions or concerns. Thank you.
Good moving up there. Yeah, everything looked good.
How do you make out your rocks?
Still climbing them.
Go on.
Is this the site where there was a little erosion after the well drilling went in?
No.
Okay. This is.
No, excuse me. This house has been in existence since like 1999.
Okay.
Questions first, proposed driveway, is that going to continue to be gravel or the pavement?
Unless somebody gives me 30 grand to pave it, it's gonna be gravel.
Okay, great. And what is the current nature of where the driveway and garage are going? Is that lawn or trees?
No, it's, Isabella, I don't know how you describe that. It's kind of open, sunk a little bit. There's some frontage. Yeah, edge woodland.
Okay,
How many stories is it gonna be?
That depends. This is getting very expensive, so we haven't actually settled on an actual plan, but ideally it would be something like a gambrel with the space above, but it's TBD.
40 by 30.
Uh,
If that's just the square you want, or if
that's, so I was told, get approved for as big as you can. And then we can always go smaller, but we can't go bigger.
I'm not worried about big, I'm worried about close to the wetlands. So why this corner, you know, if you don't need to push that corner, you need to push the corner back. So
Sure.
how many bay garage, or what's
Two.
your, how too big?
Too big.
You don't need 40 feet for it. 24 feet, but people like the right story.
Yeah, I need more stuff. The toys are currently taking up the actual garage.
question for Mike Dean, you said something about utilities and septic to the garage, and what is the garage going to have a sink in it or something?
I can address that, Mike, if you don't mind. So
sure.
when we did the walks, the site walk, one of the members mentioned if we would have water, and at that point in time, I hadn't considered it, but it was brought to my attention that it would be very prudent to do it now instead of later. So,
Okay, so you are planning on. Is it just for a sink or?
yeah, just for a second.
Just a question, proposed drive, and then I see a big boulder and kind of two pentagons that look like it's. Is that all gonna be paved, or if there's
No.
a big old boulder there?
No, there's a glacial boulder
Yeah,
here that's remaining. I believe that's this one.
no, I'm talking about the one that's right in the corner of your garage, yeah, up a little bit,
This?
down. There,
Oh, this, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so there's two boulders here, these are fairly sized, but, this one's going to be cracked, split, and then used as fill.
cracked and spilled and.
They're rocks that were moved by glaciers, so they're not in the ground.
Right, the big potatoes. you said.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess that's what I'm looking for is, A, it looks ugly unless it's a commercial, to have 40 feet of pavement in front of a door. That you pave in front of, well, 40 feet of access. You know, yes, it's nice to have a flat area to work on. I understand that, but it usually has a nice throat and you go to where you're driving in and out. You don't stop unless you're busy, but-
We're pretty pinned and limited with the existing driveway on what we can do. And so we need an area here that has enough turnaround, because right now it's impossible, given the current configuration, whoever showed up on site, it's difficult.
Okay, so guest parking.
Well, just not even guest parking, but for me to get in and out.
Well, don't you have your turnaround in front of your existing garage? But that's-
No, it's not that big, and I tried, so I can't expand it because that's where the septic is. Or the beach.
Well, no, it's already take over your reserve area. And then where is your septic? Is that in the?
Septic's here. And then the leach fields are here. So my wife's car's fine, you know, backing in and out of the bay, but I have a truck and it's at least a 3-pointer.
The field and the reserve area is the same. If you had the lines in between and the old fashioned roads. So your existing driveway is already over your septics. No, it is on this plan, but it's not on this plan. These plans don't quite.
The colored one is the revised, I don't have the revised.
Okay.
Any other concerns or questions about the work to be done between 50 and 100 feet? If not, I'll entertain motions. Motion sheet.
I make a motion to approve the notice of intent for 29 Pleasant Street. DEP number 218, 0 and issuance order of conditions as drafted by the agent.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Chair, aye. This is unanimously. So,
Thank you.
to get you in and out this way.
Great. Thank you very much.
The rest of the construction.
Thank you.
Isabel. They'll sign it in the.
How long have you lived there?
We moved, January 2020.
Existing garage can stay as toy storage. You're going to try finishing.
Ideally, my wife would like it for her car. And that's the proposed plan.
So you get more to.
More I have to manage though, maybe less is better. Less higher quality.
The older you get, the more you realize you need so much.
Exactly, yeah.
No, that's when you get a bigger tractor.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 7. This is intent of 75 Blackstone Street, DEP number 218-0863. Schedule for this,
Also.
so that concludes the public hearing. Zooming through. Agenda item number 8, 55 Hensley. Administrative permit for passive skill. PA. Tree warden is verified that this was an immediate danger. It's cut back to the status. This is just.
So it's confirming it.
Yeah.
So that's what.
Oh. And you can mail it in. If you want to do that.
So while we're facing that, skip ahead to minute approval. November 14th.
I made a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Also.
Seconded by Todd. Can you repeat the motion, please? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
We would approve minutes for May 20th, 2021. This was a past from the past. Volunteers write the minutes up and I guess.
And who were our clerk been at the time? What was on the?
David was chair. If you look at it, possible.
You can bring that.
In the school. It's.
There was no hearing or no.
Yeah.
So pretty much the time is happening, we're officially saying.
Oh, that's.
That's an impact.
Well, Gasco Meadow was conservation and 5,000, that's coming down east.
But-
Thank you very much. It's 23 kids. Everything on job. Yeah, well. No. Are we waiting for?
Okay, so if you're done reviewing, yep, take a motion. Thank you.
I'll make a motion. Make a motion to approve the minutes of 5/21/20.
May 2021. We're right, you have to reverse.
Is that right? Oh, okay.
It's ambiguous. Anyway,
It's not European.
your first day for moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I wasn't here.
Okay.
I stayed.
Don't
I
say
stayed here. Okay.
any opposed? Okay, passes unanimously. Passes. Won't go into it. Okay, we can now zip back. Yeah. 55 cancel the administrative. Take any action, or is this just? Okay. Move on to agenda item 9, water and wetland for lake pickup treatment. New quotes for 2025 NOI submission and for annual aquatic vegetation treatment. And then they've also presented a year-end report. Do we have someone from water and wetland on?
No.
Okay, so if you want to say, you will look them over.
Yeah, so it's the quote to submit the new notice of intent when we, the one that's been open wasn't actually for the town's work. So we need a new submission, and then it's the usual annual treatment. And they total to 10,189. And the NOI would probably be fiscal year 25 this year, and then the treatment fiscal year 26, because it'll be this summer. And then they have the reports for 2021 submitted too. Does it actually cost this much?
It usually costs us 5,000, approximately 6,000. The additional amount this year is because they're going to be working to prepare the paperwork. For the past 6-7 years, we've been rolling along an existing NOI, but it wasn't our NOI. So this is where they are going to make all the paperwork tidy, make sure that we're following all of the guidelines and by investing 5,000 now, we should be able to roll this one forward for another decade.
Yeah, so continue, I mean, why not just change the names and dates and just it's the same work? And then,
So I'm comfortable paying the large amount rather than trying to carve out enough of this development time to do that with all of the other versions.
Yeah, I think because it's the same firm, I don't think it has to go out to bid. It's 5,000. But I don't know what other firms cost.
They weren't that many, let's go. But just help me, because the process is, at the end of the season, they're supposed to do a scout and give a final report saying, I'm just trying to get the schedule. And so at the beginning of the year, do they also go out and scout, I'm assuming? And then they gotta wait just that window of time and then they do it. And then sometimes they gotta come back and do it again, or I'm never really clear, what you're paying for square footage, or they'll say, oh, it's this cove, it's that much. So I'm okay with them, they do a pretty good job, but someone's gotta ride herd on it. And so if it's not you, who is it? Who is it? And they're not gonna want you to go out on the boat. I guess I want reports that we can see, well, that's okay, good. So I'd like to be more included in that process. If we're spending this money, and I'd like to see the Lake Denmark Association. At one time, they had spent, they paid for it. So if we can like recruit volunteers to be those eyes, I don't know, it's sometimes it's more work.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been part of exactly where they're releasing the chemicals or what coves they're targeting. It seems like they're targeting 2 of the coves more specifically, but they're feedback from the residents who live on the lake is probably the most important on where we want
It is, but then you'll have the scientists saying, these are the serious ones, and then you'll have the owner saying, well, these are my concern, or I want to dredge, and so we need professionals, so we need to all get educated.
Because we did that back 2, 3, 4 months ago, the owner said, do my parcel out in the south. And we had some water and said, yeah, it wasn't good.
Not as bad as it did.
Is this including blue stripe stuff?
Does this
No.
basement possible $20?
They want to get purple blue stripe, which is a
Upland speed.
upland species. So that's gonna be, they're gonna be they're gonna be the people applying, not the commission.
Good.
And then we offered for the commission quoted 750. Oh, exactly. Yeah. But I'm not.
So it's sleeping milfoil and
Kabomba. I just like saying that. Well, I'm supporting the program, and it's just, let's keep it going.
The other thing that they mentioned in their estimate is if they determine that some other species is a problem for $1,200, they do a special treatment. So that's in their estimate as well.
Whatever we can negotiate up front, you don't get it after.
And they're asking that we take action on this now, so that typically we waited until January, February, March. But I'm all in favor of getting this done now, especially since we want to get the NOI process rolling.
And get on their calendar.
Well, and it's time sensitive when they treat it too, so. Let it speak.
Okay,
So looking for that.
I think a motion for each proposal.
yeah, so.
I make a motion for approvals of intent on proposal by Water and Wetland for the annual lake net treatment for $5,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously.
I also make another motion to approve the 2025 Lake Nipmuc annual treatment proposal by Water and Wetlands for $5,100 each.
A second.
Second. No, you can do that.
I heard Bob got in by a fraction of the switch. Moved and seconded, any further discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. On to agenda item number 10. Second generation anti-coagulant rodenticides. SGARs. Discuss risk to ecosystems predators by indirect poisoning from rodenticide usage.
Okay, so there's 2 different kinds of rodent poisons that companies use. There's the first generation, which kills pretty fast. It's really high in toxin. The second one is called second generation. It doesn't have as much of it in it. So the animal has to be done it a few times before It passes, and what happens is an animal that's been poisoned with either one of these rodents will go up to the boil after it's eaten the poison. And there will be predators who prey on it and eat it, whether it's dead or alive at that point, doesn't matter. That will be then secondarily poisoned. And so what we're trying to do is find other methods to make sure that we don't use poison. Things like birth control. The system that they use, oh my gosh, what's the 3 letters? There's a pyramid of,
Integrated.
yes, past management. Thank you.
idea.
Yes, that's, I'd like to
Well,
do.
that's for integrated pest for rats.
It's called integrated pest management. It's for rodents.
Right, now I'm familiar with what that is for insecticides. Instead of, it means you gotta go out.
Same thing of like doing exclusion first, ways that they can get into the.
Okay, and how do you exclude rats from getting into your
I'll tell you.
compost? Okay,
You gotta, well, that's the other thing you have to start. That's the second part of it.
so what is your suggestion, that the Concom is going to pass a local bylaw against secondary rodenticides?
No.
Or we're going to encourage further research for IPM for rats? That I could support. But I don't like stopping people from using what's out there unless there's another option that we can
There
recommend.
are.
Okay,
So there's 3, so integrated pest management has other things like, instead of dating with poison, you can date with her. And it's just as effective. So you're, sterilizing the animal so it doesn't breed again. And it's humane. 90% of the animals that are like foxes, owls, any coyotes, anything that eats mice or rodents that come into our wildlife centers that are sick are all have this in their system. And I'm sick with this.
So this is both MSMCP and MACC have had lectures with Mass Audubon about trying to get the use limited in Massachusetts. Boston just removed escars from their rat protocol.
well, by eliminating S-GARs, are primary GARs available?
There are other
You're saying there's no rat?
There are other rat poisons that don't take 10 days to kill the rat.
That kill whatever's there, so there's, but,
And then
but
you can also
her point
put-
was the concern that that stuff lives on to whoever eats that.
Yes.
So if that's true with the primary, that you're saying secondary is, tips are better than,
So right now,
I would think it would be better because it would be less toxic than primary, right?
But you can put rat traps or mouse traps that kill instantaneous.
I understand physical, yes, that's the old fashioned kind, that's the podiatrist.
I had rodent illness.
Can we back up a little bit? Why are we discussing this?
So
What's the purpose of this?
my suggestion is that we can at least not have rat poisons be used on town properties.
Yeah.
And that could be a policy. There's a draft from MSMCP.
It was in the meeting, it was in the files. You read that.
I looked at the 3 slide decks, the 3 things that were unfolded. On one of them, it had a list of a map showing communities that have taken action. Oxford was one. So is this something that you go to the select board and try and set up a public advocacy kind of group where you go around and take surveys of town land and see whether people are using bait traps?
Well, the only people that can use this kind of poison are the companies that.
Right. Yeah, so next time I talk to you, think we'll do pest control in my place, I'll ask whether they're using this. And ask them not to. But,
Because what are their options? Right
well,
now,
I would expect them to tell me what they are.
per person, yeah, you said.
So in terms of the
What we're actually doing though is we're killing off the things that eat.
the
So
agenda,
we're kind of like, the problem's not gonna go away.
Who kill, I have a cat, she does a pretty good job of eating. So who are we killing off?
We're killing off the dogs. It's not, they're eating the next.
And how are we killing off the cows?
So get back to Mike's question. The agenda item doesn't say to take any action on it. So we're having a discussion. What I would say is if you and Isabella come forward with a particular thing that you want us to do, other than when we're talking to people in public hearings, say, yeah, we really like you not do that. Is this something that would go into our order of conditions? When there are people are securing compost files.
No.
I didn't think so.
Mr. Chair, I did hear a good suggestion that as a small step, we could encourage the town, say on town land, we don't want to do that. I'm all for that if we could enlarge the discussion to include the Board of Health. I think with rats, you're talking about public health, and then how they would want to do if there was rats in the elderly housing, right? So I think it's a good discussion to have.
We're responsible for conservation of town lands, so it is in our part if we take care of town lands.
Right. But if the concern to address the needs that I think people have of concerning their rats, and that if rat issues are a public health concern, and that it might not just be within the town land or within the wetland. So I'm thinking of the elderly housing or wherever there's going to have rat problems, the house, wherever you have food. So I'm just saying, let's broaden the audience, right? And if birth control is great, let's bring it on and let's not try to do it ourselves.
I agree with you, but I also have, if the poisons in the birth control is, so,
It might break down. I don't know. It's chemicals.
well, again,
Yeah, you're not supposed to throw them away.
I'd like to see some data.
And maybe find out what percentage of the town has rats. I mean, are we talking 1%? Are we talking 10?
I remember last year, 2 years ago, there was a big, you just heard a lot of people.
Because they
Word
took down the Draper building.
Yeah.
Well, the actual problem. Both of those buildings got taken down and I had a huge rat problem at my
It's
shop.
not that far as the crow flies or the rat crawls.
Right. So, yeah, and we had to take steps to make that go away. But.
But again, is that a conservation issue?
It is, it's killing us. We're supposed to protect our natural resources,
Well,
conservation, which is the wetlands.
The Concom does two things for the WPA, we also steward town lands. And so this falls under stewarding town lands and saying, do we want this particular kind of pesticide used on it?
It's not a pesticide, it's
Sorry.
a wrap.
Right.
It's not applied, so typically if you see dumpster with a black box in the back.
It's beta.
Right, sorry, I used the wrong term. So I think what I would ask Isabella or agent and we work on is to come up with something specific that you think that the Conservation Commission would do. Check and see if we need to get Board of Health and select board buy-in for that before we publish something. And then start checking around town.
Mr. Chairman, I guess I would support that, almost to make a motion. That the
It's not on the agenda.
okay,
That's,
well,
that's where we want to have it.
all right, so instruct the clerk or whoever is in passion to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
To ask the selectmen to set up a task force to pursue the control of rats and have a member from Concom, Board of Health, and who else? And the select. 3 people, just to get I don't know.
Well, we can also check and see what Oxbridge is doing.
Other communities are adopting home rule petition to get SCARs banned in the town.
Yep.
So that has to go all the way up to the state. But I don't, I mean,
It's
you got, yeah.
If a police officer, if someone reports to the police officer, I see them, and they box the police books and they're right there.
Well, the big
Well,
one,
then
then
the
change.
pesticide users, applications, they don't, because you can't buy SCARs as a.
You can't.
That's not sold in stores. So the
The license
licensors would no, they can't use it in the towns that are banned.
And
So,
And if enough towns do it, the state will do it.
Yeah, you can.
at least those are solid answers. It's not the other regular residents able to access to begin with.
Well, they can buy that. So.
Yeah, okay, any further discussion on this? So we're clear on, we'll see if something shows up at our next agenda or second meeting in January. That much time. Okay, agenda item 11, Agriculture Commission, discuss Ag Commission responsibilities related to agriculture exemptions under conservation restrictions. So, yeah, in some of our conservation restrictions, there's the language that directs if you're going to have agriculture use and as part of, as allowed in the CR, a submission gets made to the Agriculture Commission, which doesn't seem to be doing much of anything these days.
Give them something to do.
Yeah.
Well, the people can also apply for permits through the conservation. So they need to use land.
Yeah. Any further discussion on this? Okay. Updates. Chair update. I have something. The General Bylaws Review Commission is now up and running. The first meeting was last Thursday. Vice Chair. Tom Maroli's town moderator is chairing it.
Oh,
So one of the actions we did, Tom sent out an email earlier today requesting that anyone in town who is interested in modifying bylaw or proposing a new one submit a form. And so I would ask Isabella to go in and say, at some point in time in the future, we'll be asking to update our Mendon bylaw, but we're not there yet. Last time, we're still waiting for the DEP to finalize their stormwater.
Well, I think we should, hire a reviewer, but I haven't gotten to getting bids. So again, hiring a consultant to hire about
Okay, if you just,
DEP regs might take years.
okay, if you go into the form, submit something saying what you just said, and then we'll get put in the general bylaw review list, and in our future meeting, we'll go through, decide what we're going to work on.
Is that directly to, reviewing, overhauling the existing bylaw?
The existing Mendon wetlands bylaw has inconsistencies and other things that need to be updated.
Just wanted to make sure.
Opportunity. Even if it takes a
All
while.
strict.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
sign by law could probably use a look at.
Yeah.
By all means, go into the form, say sign bylaw, someone already mentioned that. Well, there was someone asking about political signs, and yeah, we'll take a look at it. Noise ordinance for people saying, we have a noise ordinance, no, actually, we don't. So that came up, select meeting last week. Historic commission may or may not want something to protect historic stone walls, so the,
And just a question, because it's an issue near and dear to my heart, is light, and that comes in regulations under planning. It seems to me you would have a local bylaw about the light, right? If you wanted to.
you can have a look at that. The question is whether it can pass the town meeting.
And only 50%.
Well, there's two caveats to that. If it passes the town meeting, and then the attorney general says it's legal.
And part of the job of the general bylaws review committee is to make sure we don't have a repeat of the last public bylaw change that resulted in continue. So that is one of the reasons I was pushing for it. That spirit. So that's the chair part. Land use CPC committees.
Haven't even met lately. I'm still on to-do list is we gotta go look at potential easement or the using of land on Millville Road, Blackstone Street. You do that this morning. So no updates, no.
Other conservation restriction work, the Thayer project, I saw in the newspaper that money actually came from a grant, so now the town's share will get kicked in if that process will move forward. I don't know if we'll end up getting, at some point we may do a review of the CR if it. Bob, anything on the task planning or task force?
No, we meet until, I believe it's March.
Okay. And now.
No man on the ice this year. Were they the one who did that? Right.
Hasn't been ice in
Years,
the last
hasn't been
couple of
clear.
years.
Who's David Bob? Nobody's got skating.
Let's stay on.
Conservation.
Nobody in your front yard.
Yeah, I'll start with 23 Cape.
Save that one for 48 hours.
Well, Christine is on the call,
Oh,
so.
okay. So we'll jump ahead to that particular, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. I would put this up. Yes, we have a man not anticipated within 48 hours. We received an email from Christine saying that there's silt in Brook, the west edge of Cape 23 Cape Road. Isabella took one for the team and went out there and got thoroughly dredged into some pictures. Thank you very much for doing that. I felt it was very important. We got eyes on there while the storm was happening. Didn't find evidence of some violations.
And I thought it's still done at about the 30 in the afternoon. Most of the heavy rain came at night.
Oh, probably got worse. That reason.
Lisa said, don't you?
Oh, from the night before.
Yeah, so this is the new stormwater outfall. And it's difficult to see impact because it was super fine, so it's causing the discoloration. But so it was coming out with silt and discolored, and it overtopped the sediment controls.
Are the sediment, so they have done the same ones that have been there, or because these don't look biodegradable?
They put, well, that's not in their permit.
It overtopped the bottle in just one spot, or
I don't
think
know
it's a
the
lot
water.
of water.
This is a this was already in this, they didn't put any new silt fences in, they put in the 12-inch wattles. It was over both of them. Over here too. This is the
You can see the overpower in there.
old head wall. Coming out clean.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's the silt fence that's overpowered pretty much.
and it's, yeah, you can see it's going over the wattles here too.
And that's that
then-
low corner where all the water kind of comes out.
Is that where they planted all the sedge and stuff like that too?
Yeah. And
It's just
then
a big area and a steep slope.
this is the northwestern area. Here's their swale.
Ooh, ugly.
And then,
That's bad.
yeah, coming out of the swale.
Oh my gosh.
And then that's the north southwestern.
That looks good.
This one did look good, but this is a much longer swale, and so that's coming out clean. And then here's in the.
Oh, I'm not liking that. So that's in the woods. No, but I can see silt. I can see silt in there. Left hand, can't see it. Because it's more still.
Isabella, was that the area that is after the head wall that goes behind the house, out the farm?
This is going, yeah, between. Okay, farm and this is the public associated.
So what did the developer say? Or have they said?
So I met Justin Abel on site, he's the project superintendent for Arco. And he was meeting with Blue Water as I was leaving, so we checked in. I got updates from Sean for discharge location 71, which is the stormwater outfall, inspecting each catch basin inland structure upstream to see if they can identify sediment within the sumps under the structure. All inlet protection bags are in place, and 2 structures where we saw ponding water prior, we placed stone berms around them. They're gonna reinforce all the perimeter controls immediately beyond the discharge location to filter and slow the water being discharged. They're installing flop logs to clear the water and help the silt fence settle. Replace wattles and silt fence, add the flop logs. And then the northwestern swale, they're gonna add multiple check dams along the swale, feeding the northwest sediment trap. The sediment trap itself will receive silt socks perimeter controls and raise the sediment trap to increase the capacity and reinforce the spillway.
Did they say
And then he sent update that maintenance to all existing perimeter controls, restake and repin along the western edge. Additional wattles on the way for placement immediately outside the discharge. Flop logs on the way to be placed in all strategic locations to help the minor silt settle. And working on the northwestern swale.
What are they gonna do for the wetlands? Did they say anything?
They haven't said anything. So that, I mean, that would be, the commission would have to order.
Just a general question. I understand perimeter controls. But I also understand that was a lot of water. And it always happens during the construction phase before all the storm drains get put in and you don't control. So there's this fine line how controlling the water. So interior. So are there any catch basins in place that they're putting wattles around? So do you put, I don't know, canvas over it and you create a little settling ponds around all the catch basins? Mike, I'm looking to you. How do you control the
My
water?
first question is, where is the water coming from? Getting into, like, but where is it coming from?
From each section.
And getting into the drain? Is it the rain that's sheet flowing on the actual site? Or is there outside sources bringing that much water?
I said, I don't know if it's, I call it the southwest corner. That's the lowest part. And that was mostly coming down the hill. Now, was it some sideways from the solar field? I don't think so. That's not the issue of this, in this storm. It's just so much water coming down. It was sheet flow and it all gets concentrated into that lower side, does damage on its way, picks up so much.
Ask everybody. What Peter's going to ask.
No, that's not asking a question about. For interior control, sediment control, I guess. Was that on the plan or no? Now it's an emergency. Now, so now we got that.
They had 4 sediment basins on the proposed plans. 2 further up that aren't really there, so. But,
Really, they're on the plan?
I mean, it's all
Those
excavated though, but there's, the catch basins are in, they have inlet protection bags around them, so.
Well, the catch basins can be in, but they're not gonna catch anything unless you direct the water to it, right? So, I don't know.
We have to go out, walk,
But
are the catch basins higher than?
often they are, but if the plan calls for 4 settling basins, my understanding is that's what you gotta do first, is build all your settling basins before you even disturb. Or, you try to get that under control ASAP, so I don't know.
Jeff has been out 4 or 5 times now, he's inspected
Jeff's our guy,
he inspected all the stormwater systems, so.
Did I read right that they did have the protections in the catch basins, but they obviously didn't do what they were supposed to do? Didn't they put the fabric or whatever goes in the catch basins to stop the silt from going in the catch basins and being discharged through the system?
Yeah, but I think they're fine enough that they're coming through.
It's going through it.
Either that or they're so fine enough and there's so much water, they get overblown. And so then it doesn't get into the catch basin, just goes overland and overcomes the perimeter.
And that was my question is when when you were there, did you happen to observe whether or not the water was coming down the road itself? Or was it,
I mean, the
did it
site's so
look like it was
big.
coming from everywhere?
Yeah, maybe got 3 inches of rain, so it's.
So it could be
The site, it
other
looks like
sites.
down from other sites anymore, because that whole swale on the southern side is going along the entire edge, so there's no water coming
This way, it's-
over.
And that was clean anyway, right?
And that water was coming up there, so there's more in the north.
It's just all down the middle. It's a long, wide, yes, wow.
So it's running over the ground.
Let's see if there's any.
Watch when you switch.
Go down it. It's gotta go somewhere.
Okay,
It's over down the septic tank, so.
there.
So we're all talking about where the water is coming from. Wetlands have been impacted again. We're the Conservation Commission, you don't have a plan now for the wetlands getting cleaned up. We need to do something. Take a stand. I know this is a new owner of the site, but it's happened here before. It got sold, they didn't clean up the wetlands, and now it's happening again. So we need to fix this. We need to fix this.
We need to stop it from getting worse, first of all. Then we need to fix it, and because that's the question.
Listen, if they inherited this problem, they need to clean up the wetlands. And I'm ready to do an enforcement order. I'm sick of this whole site. It's, whatever they've done is not working. They knew this, I'm hoping they knew this was an issue when they bought this. Should have been disclosed. The other owner skipped out of town without fixing the wetlands. Now we've got more silt in the wetlands. We need to do something.
Okay,
So can you vote on items
no,
48 hours?
well, I don't think we need to vote. Here's what I would want. I'm agreeing with you, and I think that we need to ask the site people 2 questions. Question number 1, why was there a failure at this storm? They should have, maybe they weren't expecting 3 inches, but if they didn't replace previous stuff and were relying on that to work, they did a very big engineering plan that they have about. So I'm looking for their story as to why things went wrong and what they will do to make sure it doesn't happen again. Part of it may be that, as someone said, they were very, very fine, so it's very hard to keep that out, but I'd like to hear their story. And the second thing I'd like to hear from them is what their proposal is for cleaning up, because in addition to the couple of inches that was there before, now there's whatever showed up because of this particular issue. So what I would direct them is to have our agent communicate with them that we want them to show up at our next meeting. And if they don't show up, then they're getting an enforcement. Isabel would research whether that or David finds.
Mr. Chair, I support that. Is that, and if that's a letter, I would encourage a CCDP.
DP gets, yeah.
They get the SWIP reports.
No, we'd be sending them, SWIP reports is EPA. But I send all enforcement orders with them, but I wouldn't do fines until we're getting. I mean, fines get very tricky with town council.
Well, you're not suggesting enforcement, I'm saying just a letter to them asking for these, and then I'm just saying the CCDP.
So I'm sure they'll be very responsive. They responded within. They had someone on site when Isabel needed to go out. They've responded already to findings. So I'm expecting that at our first meeting in January, they'll come in answering these 2 questions for us.
Here's the thought too, it's like, when they build things in hurricane zones, they build things for really strong hurricanes. Shouldn't they have, with the information they have, be sure that this system was?
No, our regulation is probably 100-year storm. What was this storm that we just had? It was probably, I don't know.
And we had it after a 3-month drought, so all of them.
Well, the hydrology has changed too, like, so it's not
Okay.
what.
So the first thing is, we have to give them an opportunity.
Exactly.
Gotta let them know that we're not happy. Come back with a plan on how to clean it up. What are you gonna do? So it doesn't happen?
And why it went wrong. Both of
They
these.
have to make them stick to it, because this is around 7 for this property.
Doesn't a month seem like a long time to wait? Because undoubtedly we'll get another storm.
It's gonna rain next Thursday. Again,
So.
You can ask for that report within 1 week.
Wait,
Yes.
response.
We don't need, at our meeting, the report should come to our agent, ASAP.
Unless I call an off-cycle meeting, we wouldn't take action until the second Thursday, Jay.
And then EO can come from just the chair if you run the meeting.
Right, and we can get the report, and we can be sent the report so that we can come to our next meeting.
well, I don't have a problem having an off
Yeah.
scheduled meeting. We have a member that's very concerned over it, so I think we should at least put the wheels in motion as soon as possible. Because it is gonna take time for them to say, okay, here's the plan, they're gonna come before us, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Step by step.
And it's historically a problem, so.
And the neighbors are already on us for not doing it. So.
Right, but again, you're absolutely right. They bought the property knowing it. The new owner now, so we're basically back at go. You know, so I think you're right. Let's get on it and get the ball rolling sooner than later, because it's just the way things move, it's slow anyway.
One of the two of you make a statement of what you're directing our agent to do.
Schedule another meeting, send them a letter, tell them to get in here. We have a problem, what's going on there, come up with a plan on how you're gonna stop this
If
erosion
you
problem.
want anything, done, is there any part of that you want done before the first meeting in January?
Yeah, I want them to put together what they're gonna do. We're gonna tell them the problem, hey, look at this, you got the proof right there. How you gonna stop this from happening again? Get it here, so we can start reviewing the process.
But that's a report by December 31st. Give them 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks to generate a report.
I would give it three.
Yeah.
I give it two at best.
Okay, what's 2 weeks from tonight?
I mean, they have.
Day after Christmas, I'm fine with that.
I'm okay with it. Yeah, all right.
I'm fine.
Well, that's to get the report. We don't have to act on it. Or, well, if you want, all right.
You gotta get the ball rolling.
And the chair's right, date certain, at least for the report. And then if you want a date certain for the meeting, then the second step.
So they're gonna present the report, we're gonna toss it back around, question why are you going like that, why don't you try this, it's another way, blah, blah, blah. That process alone.
I guess I'm comfortable. You got the report by December 26th. We have until now to go out and look at the site, right? We can all do that. And then we can make a decision. Yes, we need to have a meeting December 26th, or no, let's get the report. We can cogitate and then take actions on it, depending on what we find out between now and
I
then.
mean, personally, it's supposed to rain, I'm watching the weather. Dealing with a job site myself. It's supposed to rain again Thursday. I'll make it a point to take a run up there.
And I'm sure if Christine observes something, she would send another email.
And that's what I'm telling
Do
you,
you
whether
want
we gotta
to,
jump off the phone.
Best time to analyze the problem is when it's pouring rain.
It's the only time to do it, right?
So Mike, is it my understanding that you would like a letter written that says this is a repetitive problem that is not seeming to go away, that we wanted a plan on the sooner side, less than 2 weeks? And with some sort of action to prevent this in the future.
And remediation.
Remediation comes, but we have to stop it in order to
Right,
remediate.
Make that motion, Mike?
So
moved.
Second. And the date for that
So
was
we're meeting
14th?
on the 26th anyways. Do we want hearings on the 26th?
No, we're asking for a report by the 26th, is the way I interpret that.
Yeah, I mean, if there's other business to do, yeah. But now,
Do we want a commission site visit or do you all want to go?
If he wants to go out when it's raining, so.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go when it fits into my schedule, so don't plan a site walk with me. I'll go when it fits into my.
They're pretty particular about hot hats, boots and vests and everything, so.
Where,
Yeah, so
on that
just-
site?
Yeah, so just check in at
Yeah,
the,
it's a regular.
I got a
touch.
touch.
just when you pull in, so if you go down White Street and you pull in, their trailer is right on that entrance there, so you can just knock and say hi to the.
I'll
Just be
be
nice.
on site visit if you wanna do a.
Do we have a contact person? Who's the superintendent on site?
Just the people,
What's his name?
just have a cell.
Abel.
Is it ABEL?
Want to contact him
You want to-
and tell him, yeah, give me his number. Give me his number.
914. 907
907
74
4
23.
2 3. Give him my number. Let him know that I'm going to try to be out there. Have to give him my number, 508-726-6017.
Good for you to get some eyes out there.
I'm hoping Jack goes out Monday or Tuesday too. As well.
Now, you're playing, is that the
Jack is the planning board's security.
Gotcha, okay, gotcha.
Very much.
Okay, gotcha. And I'm not gonna go out on sidewalk. When it's, I'm okay going out when it's raining, but I'd like to see it.
Yeah, I sunk up to my thigh.
Yeah.
So it's.
What I'm curious to see is where the silt ended up. You already, how far it went into the wetlands.
Before it gets covered up, yeah,
Right.
it's still fresh.
Yeah.
My concern is where it's coming from. That's where you gotta stop it, where it's coming from. When it's in the wetland, it's already too late.
Okay. What is the ask for September 26th? What specific information are you expecting to read on the 26th?
Some type of preliminary plan to control the problem.
Okay, yeah.
Let's make it simple for them. Get a problem here, see the pictures? We don't want this happening again.
That's why I wanted to visit on the store, just because visual evidence is hard to say it's not a problem.
Actually,
And now watch she's in a jacket now.
I'm freezing.
I'll second them, or the motion been made.
It's not.
It's not a motion, sorry.
It's just the direction.
Again, and then we review their plan, if we like what they're saying, or we can say, no, we don't like that, we want you to do this. But we gotta give them the opportunity
Yes.
to tell us what they think it is. And if it sounds, let me put it this way, if it sounds like it's gonna work to me, I'll let them know, yeah, that sounds like it. If it doesn't sound like it's gonna work, I'll make suggestions on what I know. They might not like that.
Shouldn't some of the language consist of trying to have them identify where all this starts?
Well, I wouldn't, yeah, I would think, if it was me, if someone was coming at me, in my job, that happened, I would be getting all the information and going, okay, here's the problem. I got water coming from that property over there. You know, the first thing I would do personally is share the liability, if possible.
Yeah, possible.
Because it's all about money now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be all about money and who's gonna be responsible. And
Okay,
it can get expensive.
if we don't like what they're saying, can we just do an enforcement order? Be done with it, get that going. Because it's gonna happen.
Isabella and I will review the 26th, and if we feel an enforcement order is necessary, we go first meeting in January.
That sounds good.
So we want the report by the 26th. And we're having a meeting or we're not? having a meeting?
No. At the 26th, you and Carl are gonna get the first review of the report. And then you'll decide whether we have to have a meeting before the 6th.
Oh,
And you said.
we should have a meeting on the 26th, so if we all get the report, we can review it and go, okay, let's. Come on, get it up here, let's look at it.
We wouldn't want you making a motion for NEO when it's not an agenda item. Right now.
So we're scheduling a meeting the 26th. I'm okay with it.
I'm good with that.
And so. Not really.
It's happening. It's that week that it's weird.
It's Christmas Wednesday.
Yes.
Boxing Day. That's the.
Isabella's like, I'm gonna take pictures.
Maybe you don't have to be here for 26th.
I got a little scared.
Were you out there by yourself?
Yeah.
Next time, call me, I'll go, we'll get, we should be able to.
I mean, yeah, a lot of,
Is there somebody on site, is there activity on the site every day?
yeah,
Okay.
so it was just a manager.
Oh.
Yeah.
No,
30-foot high wall.
correct me if I'm wrong, is this the property behind the soccer field?
Yes.
Alongside us.
It's gonna be the warehouse.
Like,
Soccer field's to the south. It abuts.
wait till you see this place. It's totally different from what you were.
From
Oh, yeah.
last year?
They raised it up like 30 feet.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
And then they lost 2 feet.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, so if there's that much activity going on, let's get them right in there.
For water. Yeah. It looks like they have really concentrated.
And who,
Water is good.
Mr. Chair, maybe we're done, but Ms. Hackinson had been on the, she's not there anymore. She was concerned about the blasting.
She was on to hear about the Lake Nipmuc.
Oh, okay.
where was that blasting?
Well, it was her concern that the blasting needed to be tested again.
45, 49.
Did we, is there any been action on that?
Board of Health met, I'll go back to my updates. The Board of Health met yesterday. And they're gonna the board formally is asking them to retest in May. Which would be a year later from the first one. So.
Okay.
That's on them, but I think. Her concern for her son-in-law, I think they're getting their well treated.
Yeah,
But
they
I
have
mean,
to wait till May if they think.
you should test your well every year, so.
But I'm glad.
Oh, test the
board's
water
on
in the well.
Yeah.
Is what it's all.
Yeah, so they did the pre and post and had higher chloroform.
Well, good, at least they're getting some support.
So I don't know what the response will be.
Next update.
There were quite a few pre-construction meetings, 39 Millville, 93 Hartford Ave, 44 Uxbridge, 3537 Hastings for the pump test. So they had all their erosion controls to dig the wells. And then Mendon started their pump test on Wednesday.
Cool. What is 44 Oxford Road?
The marina. Replacing the septic, and the roof discharges on the side closest to Old Taft Ave, so it would go into that swale. It's not
So
going
it's-
into that.
Well, it's all one way or it goes all,
It comes out of a storm. It comes down the side of the house and out of drain.
just one of them? Okay.
13 Bellingham has the plantings in, and they seeded and they cleaned up what was in the wetlands, and he sent videos that I forwarded, so let me know if you're not able to open it.
15 seconds.
There was two, there was one.
There were like 4 or 5. They were just around.
Oh, I even saw one. Yes, for 15 seconds.
You know, radius, sitting area, and then it picked up with stuff.
Seemed like he was out of the country.
Yeah, that part I understood.
There were a few of them.
And was how long, that's weird. 15 seconds. Well, you saw them, does it look like they cleaned up the wetlands?
There's a lot of leaves now, but it doesn't seem like there is material in there.
It's where you
The
talking.
one that you stopped at,
Bellingham,
Junction Bellingham.
that's fine. I took a walk all around the house. It's fine.
It's easy to see the wetlands from the house.
They,
I walked right around the edge.
they built some stone walls around the trees.
Yeah, and they got big riprap down and control any.
That slope was steep.
Yeah,
I got the RDA for 133 at like 5 o'clock, so I'm gonna send that out tomorrow. And that would be on the January,
What was the address there?
the 133 north
Okay.
of the hayfields. So I'll send those materials out tomorrow. 35 Taft Ave, which was a demolition and a rebuild, they're submitting for their COC. So that would be scheduled for COC inspection in the next month.
Is that right on the lake?
And he might get his dog licensed before he comes. So about that too.
So they tore down a house there and they're putting a new one up. All together.
Put it up, yeah.
Oh, it's already up.
It's done, yeah, COC.
Oh.
And the select board has their party at Galliford's next Friday at 5. That one will go.
Where about it?
Yes, we're invited. If you go, please RSVP. There's an email here. Email.
There might be people who weren't
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
You didn't, they're ready. That was suggestion.
Yeah,
We're, despite 3 inches of rain, we're still a level 3.
Yep, we are.
So how we got an email from the state saying, please let your well people on private wells know that droughts impact them too.
Absolutely, that's
I got
why.
my son had to frack his well. The neighbor had to frack their.
I had a frack on
When did you crack yours?
about a month ago.
Oh, you really did?
Yes,
how deep is your one?
400 feet. It was originally done regular fracking and they had to come to zone fracking. Turns out that every house now on Cisco Hill that only did the regular fracking had zone fracking. New construction, they're all doing zone fracking.
Is the sense that the fracks lose over time, the cracks, or what fails the crack? Do they?
The veins fill with rust
They fill up with eventually? Okay,
and then they seal off.
there you go. Okay.
Minerals and
Yeah.
silt.
There's a lot of, yeah.
The reason why Cisco Hill was a hill is because the granite didn't get eroded, and so it was a lot denser. And that's why it needed zone fracking. Zone fracking means you plug up 100 feet and frack that, and then go down 100 feet and frack that.
So it's more down, okay.
So you get a lot more pressure and it uses more water, it's a couple thousand.
There you go. Thanks for, all right, appreciate it.
Is it because there's no water or because the well fills up?
The
They just
water,
go deeper.
Sources
the
too.
water recharge, in my case, the water recharge is not working as well. My pump is running 24/7.
Gotcha. Okay.
So my pump is not, my electric bill is now a lot higher.
Okay.
I had one more, just no, Jim Vandersloot, who owns Maple Farm, had an accident, so there's a GoFundMe on Facebook. If you want to donate as a private citizen, but I was thinking of sending a card from the commission
Yeah.
just saying like, get well, because
Yeah,
we hold the CR and
I think that would be nice.
I don't think we can give anything.
That's a nice touch. Do we have can you get a card? Or should we just pass it along? It's a couple bucks for a card.
I'll get a card and then, I don't know if people wanna come in next week and
Yeah,
sign it,
let
and
me
I
know.
can send it out.
Did he have like a car accident?
He crashed the tractor and then waited. And took care of the cows before going in, but he fractured a couple of vertebrae. Yeah. Yeah. I believe.
And he's old too, or he's not.
Okay, any other agent reports? Okay, we've approved the minutes, that's done. Item 14, good and welfare condition.
Well, that's gonna be continued, but my other thing is the beaver stuff.
John Dudley got estimates for the 5 culverts in town. But he's not sure about budget wise, what's feasible for this year. I think he's gonna try and prioritize Northbridge Road and Providence Street. He's gonna work with Jeremy. And so I think submitting an RDA for all 5 at once is okay.
What's the total cost for all five?
Like $9,303.
What is it?
I added it up, sorry.
What is it?
$9,303.19.
For the annual.
But that lasts, but no, this is the.
Oh, this is beaver deceivers.
Well, there's no, there are.
Variable
other-
series.
Right. But it
Depending on the
lasts,
size of the culvert.
So that's 2,000 pop.
but it lasts for 10 years.
My
Yeah.
expectation is that our agent and Jeremy will work out the budgeting and if we need to.
Right.
Probably our account.
We just
Agenda item.
We just spent millions of dollars at the annual town meeting. We got plenty of money this year if we act quick.
That's what I think the hope is.
Yeah,
Right.
that would be great. I think that will help. I mean, it's infrastructure, technically, right?
Protecting.
Right, exactly.
Building resilience.
So the other thing, even though we're not talking about in particular NOI that is in endangered habitat, a question that the commission can consider and think about is after we complete the NOIs for Pleasant Street, do we want to think about adding an optional section to our boilerplate OOC when work is being done in a endangered species habitat?
Yeah.
And so we can take whatever we've got from the state agency, what they're requesting this time, we can think about having that in future projects as well.
But wouldn't it require different things depending on which the species is? Or
Yeah.
The way I would phrase it is, you don't say, don't do construction in these months. You would say, don't do construction in the months that are specified in this state table.
Okay.
My expectation is that the state agency has a list for this endangered, for turtles, don't work for this, for salmon, don't work for this. And all that we'll see do would be to reference that table.
Makes sense. Good.
There's 2 types of techniques.
And,
Well-
and as someone on the bylaws review committee, we can come up with the appropriate language to go with the boilerplate that,
Well, the boilerplate has a vernal pool section of it,
yes.
so I pull special conditions off of that, but the commission can make any special condition they want throughout the hearing process to be put on. So if you want to restrict any time of year for breeding habitat, you can do that throughout the special conditions.
The advantage with having it in the boilerplate is it will let site engineers know ahead of time that
I don't send the entire boilerplate out because it's like 20 pages long. So if I pull off of it,
okay. But what I'm trying to say is, we work with the same engineering companies over and over, eventually they will learn, oh yeah, Mendon is now tracking endangered species habitat. And they will be sensitive to that when they're making their plans.
Yeah.
Because they know we're gonna just pull that out of our back pocket and slap it because it's in a boilerplate for this vote.
The last 3 houses that have come through have all been priority habitat and wetlands. And not only priority habitat, but there are actually, threatening endangered species, not just, it could be there, so.
So any other good developer?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, just a question. It's not. It was taken out of our hands, Hartford Ave West. The cul-de-sac bracket road that my son's in a butter to. They got the final consent decree by DEP. But I wouldn't know, and I was CC'd because I was, but I'm not sure we are, but hopefully we are, because DEP found a vernal pool. So I guess I question what is, it's not a showstopper, but it's something that if we didn't write the order of conditions, do we have any right to, I don't know, going forward with that project? What happens?
There's the state has the certified and the potentials. I mean, vernal pools. It's up to the wetland scientists, so getting everything peer reviewed, having a professional go out on our side
Improving it, right?
and finding them.
So
Register.
With- For Brackett Road, because the commission didn't act, it's in DEP as the enforcing authority, so I won't be. That won't be I could talk with DEP, but we're not the enforcers on it.
So right through the whole thing, we're.
We won't do the COC, we won't do anything.
what I would say is that if the state found the vernal pool, we just pass the right hand and make sure that it gets put on the official map for the left hand. Because
So as an abutter, if I was concerned, just say something came up, I would complain to DEP and I wouldn't complain to us at all.
If you complain to me, I would direct it to DEP.
Yeah.
So I mean, the commission could give input, but the DEP is the one who gave the order. They're the,
And they'll be the one who writes the certificate of completion.
Yeah.
And they'll be the one to inspect if they sort of.
but if
Okay.
those houses want to put a barn or a deck or a swimming pool in the future, then it's back on us.
Okay,
and that's why I'm saying it's important to make sure that a newly discovered vernal pool shows up on resources that is developed.
well, I would see it's no brainer. The state's got their lists on their list, but
And
we don't
I'm
necessarily
saying
have
that-
access.
I'm saying you do not expect that one part of the state is going to talk to another.
Oh, okay.
So make sure that they report the vernal pool that they discovered.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, anything else? If not, we're ready for agenda item 16. Entertain a motion.
Peter, this is your favorite one,
Oh, those are the, I moved to adjourn.
Is there a second?
separate.
Move in second, all in favor?
Hi.
This is unanimous. See you. Maybe.
Maybe it's with it, but.